hopefully he can go to a team where he can sit for a year, be groomed, learn an NFL offense. Obviously, that's not always the case. I think for Patrick, if you were to tell him, hey, if you were picked in the top 10 right now and you had to play your first year, he would take that ticket right now, and I think he'd be confident that he'd be able to change a franchise.
That last loss coming to San Diego State 1,097 days ago. 3 years and just 2 days as of Thursday, just to be exact. You know how long that is? Some people graduate in 3 years. I mean, not me, but, friends. You get the point.
I think Patrick Mahomes is the best NFL prospect in this offense that Texas Tech or the country has ever seen.
But if I were to take this same 2x4 and place it down up here in the rafters and ask you to complete the same task, very few people, including myself, would want to do it. But nothing's changed. Only the environment.
Cliff Kingsbury kind of even joked in his post-game press conference, I think some of these upcoming seniors in high school, they're going to go to college and they're going to figure they're just going to be disappointed because they're not playing in this type of facility. College baseball without Augie Garrido just doesn't have the same ring to it. I just can't believe it. But has it actually sunk in for you now that you're not going to be?
So. I don't think it has.
This time landing at a school just 30 miles down the road that one of them had never heard of.
He mashed 52 home runs, shattering the record in the College World Series Home Run Derby. But the 2-run home run he hit yesterday against Florida right into this left field bullpen, none bigger in his life.
That same year, Tiger won his first Masters. The Titanic was the top grossing movie of the year. And on the TV show Friends, well, Ross and Rachel, they were on a break.
They're on a break.
Simple as that.
I just got done talking with Patrick Mahomes' agent, Lee Steinberg. A lot of great information talking to him right there. I told him, look, it was just about 3 months ago or so that Patrick Mahomes has really become a better player. He hasn't even played a football game. We've seen him, rise up draft boards after going through the NFL Combine, going to his pro day. They saw him throw it 78 yards on the field. You could see him as early as the top 15. That's where his agent thinks he's going to fall tonight, in the top half of the draft. Where do you think is the best fit for him, though, to fall? Yeah, it had been 34 years since the Kansas City Chiefs took a quarterback in the first round. That's how much they wanted Patrick Mahomes. They wanted someone to fall in love with them. You had mentioned it. They went up 17 spots to be able to get Patrick Mahomes. They wanted to be able to have him be able to sit and hold a clipboard, to be able to develop. You got Alex Smith for that. Check, check. And they also wanted him to be at a franchise that was set up for success. Kansas City, they've been to playoffs 3 out of the last 4 years. The icing on the cake for Cliff Kingsbury and Patrick Mahomes, they've heard it all. They've heard he doesn't have, the air raid has basically been hurting him. He's not a pro-style quarterback. Well, guess what? He just went as a top 10 pick, breaking the mold. It was interesting when I was watching Lee Steinberg and Patrick Mahomes while they were watching the draft, watching North Carolina's Mitchell Trubisky go off the board. He leaned over, he looked at him, he goes, hey, look, I know you're not the #1 quarterback off, but that's a good thing for us. You saw the quarterbacks start rolling right after Patrick gets picked at number 10. You see Deshaun Watson get picked after Houston traded with Cleveland to get picked at number 12. So obviously Houston was someone who was really looking at Mahomes. Not only did Kansas City move up 17 spots, they gave up a first-round pick in 2018, as well as one of their third-round picks this season. That's how much they wanted Patrick Mahomes. That has given up a whole lot. Mid-30s, right in there. When you think of the most successful Red Raiders around, especially ones who are under 40, your first thought likely goes to guys like Cliff Kingsbury, Wes Welker, Michael Crabtree, guys who are still in the league. While this pair of men might not be as well known for their accomplishments on the gridiron, they sure are well known for their work in the Permian Basin.
In West Texas, striking gold in the oil fields can sometimes be as unpredictable as the weather.
He feels like he can do anything, I really think, and he's shown that.
A venture that is not for the faint of heart.
I said in my best man speech that everything he touches is gold. And, there's really truth to that.
This February, 2 former Texas Tech football players won big. No, neither of them played in Super Bowl 51 like Danny Amendola.
Brady, end zone touchdown, Amendola.
But Cody Campbell and John Sellers did hit pay dirt when they landed the Permian Basin's second largest sale this year, selling 71,000 acres of mineral rights for $2.8 billion. That's billion with a capital B, making them 2 of the richest Texans under 40. But the well wasn't always churning out dollar signs like it is today.
John and I started doing the oil and gas stuff out of necessity.
Campbell and Sellers go way back, meeting in junior high. They even played football together at Canyon High School just south of Amarillo, and then continued their football careers together at Texas Tech.
We were buddies, played right next to each other on the offensive line and defensive line. You know, had always been friends, but I don't think we had visions of going into business together until we were in college.
Upon graduation, Campbell spent a season and a half in the NFL with the Indianapolis Colts, but after tearing a pectoral muscle, he was cut by the team. So he tried his hand at real estate, but that was until 2008 when the housing market crashed.
Couldn't get anything done. You know, the banks were going crazy. You know, prices were in a free fall.
So 7 years ago, he rolled the dice once more, teaming up with sellers to start Double Eagle Development, their business surviving lease to lease just to stay above water. But finally in 2013, they scored a few insurance runs, landing a multi-million-dollar deal and establishing themselves among the industry's best.
We certainly didn't have ambitions of doing what we've done. We thought it would always be much more humble, and we would kind of hustle around and try to make a good living, but it's turned into something much bigger than that. We're really proud of it.
And no matter when the chips were down, or now when he appears to be one of the chip leaders, his family always knew that everything would be all right.
You know, it's always that little brother watches, of course my big brother can do this.
Truthfully, we weren't surprised at all.
not a bit.
At all, because we just knew that they have worked their hearts out.
I kind of just had the same faith that if, you know, oil and gas didn't work, he was going to make the next stride to something else. And Cody was always just, he's a go-getter.
Yes, you believe they can do it, but then you look back and say, well, they did it.
Yeah, Brian, the sale is set to be finalized on April 20th with Austin-based drilling company Parsley Energy. I joked with him asking, how long did it take for Tech Athletics Director Kirby Hoka to give him a ring? He said Kirby did reach out and shoot him a text of congratulations. Cody saying he's helped Tech Athletics in the past, will continue to do so in the future. Brian?
For most, junior college is a second chance. An opportunity to wipe the slate clean and press the restart button. That's exactly the case for South Plains basketball players Jordan Brangers and Josh Webster.
Coming out of high school, I didn't have a lot of offers, you know. I only had one D2 offer.
Entering Christian Brothers College High School in St. Louis, Missouri, Webster was 5'3". By his senior year, he had shot up to 6 foot, but his stock with coaches didn't see that same meteoric rise.
That's when I made my choice to go a different route.
But for Brangers, the road was arguably that much tougher. A rocky road saw him drop out of Louisville Eastern and unsure if it would be the end of his career.
Honestly, during that stage of my life, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I really didn't see myself playing college basketball after that.
But that was before he picked up the phone. On the other end, South Plains head coach Steve Green.
Coach Green gave me the opportunity to come down here 15 hours away. It was a big time second chance. It really uplifted my spirits.
But it wasn't the only call he would receive. Branger's brother Jermaine Rutley played for Texas Tech head coach Chris Beard last season at Arkansas Little Rock. And as fate would have it, a dash of luck and also hard work brought Webster and Brangers another break.
My brother Jermaine, he told me, because he had the UNLV job, and he was like, he actually just left and went to Texas Tech, and I was like, that's crazy. Man, what if he comes out here, you know, tries to recruit some of us?
And that's exactly what happened. After traveling a combined 2,030 miles to continue their junior college careers right here at the Texan Dome, turns out their journey to the Division I level was much shorter. This time landing at a school just 30 miles down the road that one of them had never heard of.
Then I looked it up, and Texas Tech was only 30 minutes down the road.
I'll listen to Jermaine no matter what, but when Jermaine tells me, hey, my brother can play, it was more than one of just those, what'd you say? I was like, hey, come here, go sit down, you know, turn your phone off, what? And then Josh is just a true floor general, knows how to run a team on offense and defense.
But there's still unfinished business. The Texans ranked #1 in the latest junior college rankings, a perfect 20-0 on the year. And before Beard gets them to make the trip down 114, there's still one goal left in mind.
Win a national championship. That's enough said.
Yeah.
Just title dreams?
Yeah.
For Red Raider Nation, I'm Andrew Doak.
This is Red Raider Nation.
If you ever watched the movie Glengarry Glen Ross, you'll remember the scene when Alec Baldwin tells the salesman, put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers. The Red Raiders had all the paperwork ready. They were looking like they were ready to finalize the sale with a 5-run lead in the 9th. But the Bears had other plans. The Red Raiders were going for their 4th sweep on the year, 2nd in Big 12 play. To quote Earl Weaver, key to winning baseball games, pitching fundamentals, and the 3-run homer. There'd be a few of them. Hunter Hargrove notched one in the first inning. They'd add another run in the frame. It was 4-zip Tech after 1. Then in the third, Orlando Garcia, adios. Have yourself a weekend, my man. 4 hits, 4 home runs, 9 RBI against the Bears this weekend. That gave Tech a commanding 7-1 lead. Tech led as much as 9-4 headed into the 9th inning, but foreshadowing, Tech wasn't the only one with a 3-run bomb. Aaron Dotson takes Josh Young in his debut yard. That was Dotson's 3rd blast on the day. That gets the Bears within 2. Lucky for Tech, Dotson hit 2 solo shots. But 4 walks in the 9th set the table for the Bears offense. Richard Cunningham going the other way. That one goes into the parking lot. Baylor scored 6 runs in the top of the 9th inning, taking a 10-9 lead. And they would hold on from there in the bottom of the frame. They stunned Texas Tech 10-9, holding off the Raiders from breaking out the brooms. Here was Tadlock's thinking in putting Josh Young on the bump in that spot. Yeah, tough one to swallow. You still win the series, though, and back against New Mexico on Tuesday. Meanwhile, the Tech football team wrapped up their 3rd and final spring scrimmage of the spring slate on Saturday night. It's the first and last time the Lubbock locals could see their new quarterback, Nick Shimanek, in person. That's, of course, the last time this spring before opening the season this fall against Eastern Washington. He finished 11 for 20, 179 yards passing and a touchdown, one to Kiki QT that went 99 yards, plugging in nicely as the offense's new leader before a big season ahead for Coach Kingsbury. Turnovers aren't always a good thing, but when the Tech defense is finally turning some of them, I'll accept that, okay? Plus, the 5th-ranked Lady Raider tennis team, hey, they had a shot to clinch a share of the Big 12 championship this weekend and extend their winning streak to 13 straight matches. They do just that. Freshman Alba Cortina Poe clinched the 4-0 sweep of West Virginia for the Lady Raiders, a 6-4, 6-1 win on court 6. That marked their 5th straight win of the season. The Lady Raiders brought home their 3rd Big 12 title under head coach Todd Petty. Ron likes it. Yeah, I think that team has a real shot at a national title down the road. Meanwhile, the drama was set for the final day at the Masters. At 37 years old, the extremes of what a win would mean for Sergio Garcia were so vast. At 23, Jordan Spieth, hey, he already has a green jacket. At 28, Ricky Fowler still has a whole career ahead of him. Justin Rose, well, he already has a major. But for Garcia, a win at Augusta National would be career-altering for a man who's always been a bridesmaid, but never a bride. We know Sergio always looking for the boogeyman. He held off a meltdown down the back 9, even though he tried. But this putt on 15 was an eagle that got him back in it, taking the lead at 9 under. Rose would follow suit and join him with 3 left to play. So on 18, Rose with a birdie chance to force Garcia to answer, but he misses it. He just can't believe it. Just stunned in disbelief. So Serge on 18, a putt to win the Masters. And how Sergio is this? Leaves it out to the right. The guy just can't shake the curse. Even the guy in the red shirt behind him saying, what the heck, man? So they head to a playoff. They head back down the hill to the 18 tee box. Rose doesn't like this tee shot, and for good reason. Leaves it out to the right. A very narrow tee shot that is. He's hitting out of the pines, forced to lay up. All the while, Garcia striped it down the middle, stuck it within 12. Another shot to win the Masters, and he doesn't miss twice. It took him 74 major championships, but we can finally say Sergio Garcia, Masters champion, finally gets to go into Butler Cabin and slip on that green jacket.
Wow.
I know you're a fan of golf.
Yeah?
Watching golf and watching Sergio Garcia, most of the time, I'm not that much of a fan of the guy.
Sure.
He's kind of a whiner. You know, he
has
hears
his
something.
moments.
He hears something in the background. He's the first guy to be like, "Oh, who had the camera?"
Right.
But he's had to wait a long time. Lee Westwood is one who's next on the list, and obviously Ricky Fowler, who's still got a lot of career ahead of him, is still one who's been in the mix and trying to win a whether it's a green jacket or any kind of major championship. But nice to see him at least get it today, because he's had a rough go with things.
I interviewed him at a charity tournament one time, and you could tell, I mean, even at the charity tournament, he's so competitive. So
yeah.
Good for him. He got one, and
you could, and he's a guy who thinks people are out to get him.
Yeah.
So finally he caught his break. We'll see what he does with it. Who knows?
We'll
3
be
more
back.
majors left to go. Hey there, welcome to Red Raider Nation. I'm Andrew Doak. Last time Texas Tech faced the Jayhawks, they were just outside the top 25. Tournament hopes alive and well. Now 4-7 in the Big 12 entering this matchup. The Red Raiders weren't even on the bubble. They were just flat out on the outside looking in. March of 2009 was Tech's last win over Kansas. The Red Raiders had lost 17 straight to Rock Chalk. Been saying it for a while now. This Texas Tech team's just going to go as far as Keenan Evans takes them. 17 points for Evans just in the first half. 6 for 7, 2 for 2 from beyond the arc. He was Tech's Batman all game. What gave the Jayhawks a 7-point lead at the break, though, and some heat-seeking missiles from deep. Devontae Graham and Josh Jackson, the filthy step back, 6 triples in the first half, gave him a 42-35 lead at the break. KU led by as many as 10 in the second half. Tech chipping away, though, turnover, and Naeem Stevenson flushing it on the other end. Knots it up at 59. You think Chris Beard likes that right there? He's fired up, man. Huge second half from Naeem. Finished with 22 points, 14 of them, all in the second half. Daryl Dora likes it. Hey, he's a Kansas killer. Repeat offender. Another big storyline, just over 3 to play. Anthony Livingston drawing Frank Mason into a charge. He'd pick up his 5th foul. He gone. So just over a minute to play. Tech down 2. They got to have a bucket. Zach Smith delivers. If Keenan was Batman, Stevenson and Smith, they were the 2 Robins. Smith finished with a double-double, 21 points, 10 boards. So 5.4 seconds. It's a 79-79 ball game. KU's got it, and Josh Jackson gets the whistle. Keep an eye on the screen, though. Looked like KU might have gotten away with the moving screen right there. Jackson would go to the line. Second time in the last 2 games that a foul within the last 5 seconds would come back to bite him. Jackson would hit 1 of 2 free throws, and Keenan Evans' desperation shot won't go. That was the final nail in the coffin as Tech fell to number 3 Kansas, 80-79. Chris Beard not happy with the pick on the final play.
I thought
that is a tough pill to swallow. Meanwhile, Katie Whitaker's Lady Raiders followed tonight. Tech trying to snap a 7-game skid that started against the Sooners last month. During the skid, the Lady Raiders have lost all but one of those games by double digits. First half, this was about the bench. Lady Raiders getting 21 points off the pine. Dio Olabode get buckets. 5 for 5 from the field, 2 for 2 from deep in the first half. Hold up, Tech was up by 11 at the half. Here's where it got a little bit ugly, though. Tech with 19 turnovers in the game, 7 in the third quarter alone. Gabby Ortiz taking it coast to coast. All of a sudden, the Sooners lead by 4. Katie Whitaker kind of feeling this game slipping away. But when you need a big shot, who you going to call? Olabode. 1-point lead. Tech reclaims it. Olabode finishing with the team high 15, but the Sooners just too much down the stretch. Chelsea Dungy says coffee is for closers. Game high 18 as the Sooners take the cake 64-56.
I expected more.
Yeah, things just haven't panned out the way the Lady Raiders would have liked it this season. Out to Fayetteville, Tyson Invitational. Trey Culver just doing Trey Culver things. Decent weekend, clearing 7-1 there on the high jump, finishing 4th in the Ozarks. Vernishi Latham, a big day in the triple jump, a PR, a jump of 43 8 3/4, a lifetime best indoor school record. And after a cool 365 off due to injury, jumping unattached, former Red Raider Ja'Cory Duffield flying high, setting an indoor PR, 7'6" and 1/2. He was your Tyson winner. Yeah, I mean, he was the guy who could have been jumping at the Olympics, but just was hurt all of last year. And obviously we saw Bradley Atkins there, but just I'm sure you'll see him the next Olympics come around because he is unbelievable to watch. Tech softball, by the way, picking up a pair of wins Saturday at the CenturyLink Classic down in San Marcos, defeating Iowa 7-4. Then they shut out Abilene Christian 3-0 tonight. Red Raiders are 3-1. They're 1 win away from their best start since 2013. They close out play in San Marcos tomorrow against Texas A&M Corpus Christi, who's 0-4. First pitch slated for noon. And then meanwhile, the Tech women's tennis team fallen to number 1 Florida, 4-1 in the quarterfinals of the ITA Division I National Indoor Championships. Sophomore Felicity Maltby, she was really one of the bright spots, second straight top 25 win. And the Lady Raiders, they continue play at the ITA Indoor National Championship in a consolation match. Time and opponent still to be determined. So tough weekend for Tech hoops.
Man.
Didn't turn out the way that you wanted. It looked so bright for both of them. The men have an opportunity to win it late. It just doesn't work out in the final 5 seconds where you have a foul call for the second straight game that doesn't go your way. It sends them to the line. It comes back to bite you. And then for the Lady Raiders, you had an 11-point lead at the half against a number 19 team in the country. And just in the second half, those turnovers bite you, 19 on the day. And so, it just kind of leaves you speechless because you're just so close right there. But it just doesn't, the deck just doesn't fall your way. So, tough night for Tech Hoops. And right now, at this point, they really just have to win games down the stretch for any type of postseason play, whether that's the WNIT or the men's NIT, because right now I think they would have to really go on a run and really win the remaining games left to be able to make the NCAA tournament or to really even have a shot. So got to stack these wins together right now. We can't really have any more days where we're losing ball games and make it to postseason play. So
hoping for some more wins. All right,
Yep.
Thank you, Andrew. We have more coming up after the break.